Tammy DIXON, producing artistic director at Bricolage. I'm happy to meet you. We've never met before today.
I can't even believe that. That seems so crazy.
Does this happen? Because, you know, I've been a big fan for a long time.
I'm a fan of yours, too.
Get out of
yes, I saw Golden Girls. I loved it.
I will never live that down.
No.
Golden Girls Live
I loved
at
it.
the Arcade
I loved it.
Comedy Theater.
That's the role I wanted, but you got it.
The Estelle Getty.
Yeah.
That's who you identify with most.
I think I auditioned, but you got it.
Well, it was all male cast. You know, when they do it the legit way, you'll be up for that. But in addition to being artistic producing artistic director, PAD.
The pad.
The pad at Bricolage. You're an exceptional performer, too.
Thank you.
Can we add that?
I don't think they'll allow that in the title. I think the 3 words that are there are already too much.
But PAD, we're shortening it up. So there's a lot going on at Bricolage these days.
Yes.
Most notably coming up the big annual fundraiser,
Yes.
Bus, on March 11th. Described on your website as a daring expose of Pittsburgh's most adventurous artists.
Yes.
Now, there's a number of ways that I think that could fall out. But how is that going to happen? What is Bus?
Well, the best thing about Bus is that it's a surprise. You never know what's going to happen. Things could fall out. Things do actually fall out.
No.
People's butts.
Wardrobe malfunctions.
Wardrobe malfunctions. I'm rolling around on stage making out with my husband. Like, you never know what you're going to get.
Wow.
That's why it's so awesome. But what we do is we give 6 playwrights 12 hours to write a 10-minute play inspired by a 90-minute ride on a city bus. I know it sounds like I'm asking you to do math, but we've already done it for you. You don't have to do anything.
Okay, the equation works out.
The equation works out. It's all fine. And then we give 6 directors and 24 actors the next 12 hours to rehearse, stage, and memorize those 6 plays. And 24 hours after we first meet, we have a show that was never seen before and will probably never be seen again.
So this is all inspired by what they experience riding on Pittsburgh Public Transit.
Yes, we put the 6 playwrights on Friday night at around 5:30, rush hour. We send them in 6 different directions all over the city, going up and down, south, north, east, and west for 90 minutes, and they loop back around and they come back, and then they meet the 24 actors, and the actors are doing a sort of audition. And that's a process that the audience members can see. They can be flies on the wall for that. If they get the VIP ticket, they can sneak in and be a fly on the wall and see that. But the actors, we prompt them. We ask them to bring a prop and a costume piece to use in the plays. Maybe not. More inspiration for the playwrights, and then we ask them a question: What's the biggest trouble you've ever gotten into? Sort of intimate things. We don't want them to do a monologue. Anybody can memorize something and be really good for 2 minutes. What we really want to do is we want to meet these actors where they are, who they are. It gets really raw. It gets really intimate. Some incredible stories we hear.
There's no way you can prepare for that.
No, you can't really prepare for that, and you don't know what character you're going to play.
Wow.
So whatever you wear on Friday night, that might be written into the play on Saturday.
Well, I imagine that. How many years have you been doing Bus?
This is our 12th year. I can't even believe it.
So after 12 years, I imagine some amazing material has come out of these inspiring bus rides. What are some of the most memorable for you that have shown up in bus performances?
Oh my gosh, so many. After 12 years, we published a book last year.
Wow.
Because we said, well, we're only going to do this for 10 years. And we thought when we said that 10 years seemed like a lifetime and that, we'll never hit that. But then 10 years came around and we couldn't believe we were doing that. You know, one of my favorite stories is the first year we did it, you know, we didn't really know what we were doing. We kind of just grabbed these wonderful artists who were super adventurous, and we said, there's this thing we want to do. Will you do it with us? Yes. And one of the playwrights, this is one of my favorite stories, I tell it a lot, but Melissa Martin came, and she's a wonderful woman, and you know, she had a bus route that started on the north side, so Jeffrey had to drive her, and she wanted a bus buddy because she didn't want to go alone. So her and her friend Mary drove them over to the north side and dropped them off. And so Jeffrey, being the incredibly intelligent man that he is, kind of waited around, and he's really kind, so he waited around for the ladies to get on the bus. And so they're both wearing like these giant fur coats, And they're across the street, and Jeffrey kind of like turns the corner and just waits as a lookout. And he sees them waiting at the bus stop, and then like 10 seconds later, he sees them running across the street. And he's like, oh my God, what's happened? What's going on? And so he like pulls up and he catches them. They're like, oh! And he's like, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, everything's fine. He's like, no, the bus is coming. You got to go back. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, we're going back. Well, it turns out they were just gonna go to like some bar or somebody's house and be like, I'm not riding that bus, forget about it. I'm not gonna do that.
Scandal.
Yes, scandalous. She was trying to like peace out on us. But we got her on the bus, and I'm so glad because the play she wrote was so beautiful. And she wrote it, she couldn't have written it without being on that bus because it was about that bus ride. It was about 3 characters on that bus. A man that continually combed his hair, was going on his first date. He'd been taking care of his mother for many years, and he was going on his first date. He was really nervous. He kept combing his hair, and talking about it. Then a man who was best friends with Eddie Murphy, who was hitting on all the women on the bus. And then a woman who was a nurse, a home health aide, who was taking care of her mother-in-law who had just died, and she was riding the bus back home to tell her son that it was just such a gorgeous play. I mean, this is it. This is the stuff of life. I mean, this is why we put them on the bus, because this is where life happens. And you can't, as we know today, the truth is stranger than fiction.
Oh, yeah.
And why make up anything when it's so crazy
the
out there?
stories are all around us.
Yeah,
and on
always.
Pittsburgh Public Transit.
Everywhere.
It's a wealth, and it's a brilliant concept. So again, March 11th, BUS, which stands for Bricolage Urban
Scrawl.
Very clever acronym. Is that
Yeah. They're riding a bus. What does it mean?
It is an 18+ event, we should say.
It is. Jason McCune his butt might be showing again.
Well, that may get you tickets, or it may turn folks away. But hey, from the source here, tickets begin at $45.
Yes, it is a fundraiser.
And
you're going to get a party. You're going to get food. You're going to get drink. You're going to get a silent auction. You're going to have a great time, and you're going to get a show. It's not like a traditional fundraiser. It's a celebration.
And a coming together of artists
yes.
from all over Pittsburgh.
Yeah, over 40 artists from all over. All of the theaters around town come and they play with us, and it really fuels us for the rest of the year.
Not your typical fundraiser by any stretch of the imagination. Tickets available at bricolagepgh.org.
.org. We're a nonprofit. That's why we're having a fundraiser.
Indeed. Bring your wallet.